Good evening. I'm Max McCoy. I'm Executive Director of WWA. Welcome to tonight's presentation of the Western Riders of America Spur Awards 2024 edition. Since the Spurs were first handed out in 1954, this contest has expanded to embrace all types of Western subjects and stories. We recognize novelists and historians, poets, screenwriters, and songwriters. It is always with a sense of pride and achievement that we take an evening to celebrate the very best in Western literature. As we begin tonight's festivities, I would like to recognize the past presidents of Western Riders of America who are with us tonight. Please stand when your name is called. W.C. Jameson. Preston Lewis. Lauren D. Eskelman. Johnny D. Boggs. Nancy Plain. Bill Mills, Jr. Thank you so much for your service to our organization. And of course, I also want to acknowledge our current president, Melody Grove. Our interim outgoing vice president, Jane Little-Botkin, who is not able to be with us, unfortunately. But we do have newly installed Vice President Stuart Rosebrook. Let's take a moment to recognize the WWA board members. They are W. Michael Farmer, who could not be with us tonight, Scott Thompson, Rod Timanis, Deborah Goodrich, who's turning 2, and our new board member, Natalie Bright. Tonight's special guest master of ceremonies traces his Colorado family roots back 7 generations. He is a 3-time Spur Award winner and has released 8 CDs, 2 novels, 2 nonfiction works, and myriad short stories and nonfiction articles. Please join me in welcoming my friend and yours, author, musician, singer-songwriter, and a friend to all of WWA, John Chandra.
Hi. I get my little clicker working there. Little ET thing I gotta do. It is lovely to be here. It's been too long for me to miss a few of these in a row, and it will not happen again. But when Max called and said we'd like you to be involved, it was something I couldn't turn down. And, well, you know, Max is he's one of a kind. There's no doubt about it. So we, in fact, you know, a lot of you don't know that, but when the board was deciding to bring him on as the executive director, they only had one question they wanted to ask him. You know, what's your biggest fault? And he said, well, honesty. They said, well, I don't think honesty is a fault. And Max said, I don't give a damn what you think. So, the truth gets you. It's a real honor for me being here this evening. I wore this hat right here. I'm getting this on here. I wore this for the first time, not for the first time, but I wore this for my first WWA gathering in Rapid City, South Dakota over 30 years ago. It was probably close to 10 years old at the time, the hat, not me, but it was still in pretty good shape. And I wanted to look good, and boy, I thought I did. My novel, The Spanish Peaks, had received the Medicine Pipe Bearer Award for Best First Novel from Western Writers of America. And this was my introduction to the people I hoped would perceive me as a peer, but I had no idea what acceptance meant. After my remarks, I sat down and I thought, well, that was nice, and in short order I was chatting about trail drives from Texas to Colorado with the great Elmer Kelton. My tongue was tied in knots, of course. Next I was sitting with my hero, Don Goldsmith, whose first question was, what's your beautiful wife doing with someone like you? I said, well, so Edna Goldsmith just reached over and patted me on the hand and gave me that smile, you'll learn. And Don became a very close friend, and a word that I don't use very often, a mentor. And when I introduced him to my trail pal from the Hole in the Wall gang, Kansas statesman, warrior, farmer, world traveler, and cowboy par excellence, Dick Wellman, they became fast friends as well. And I someday could write a book about that friendship between those two. I do remember that the first thing is stepping off the stage. I have no idea what I said that night when my acceptance speech, but I remember getting off. So someone grabbed my arm and said, "Congratulations, fella." And it was my introduction to old Max Evans. And so I had the chance to meet Lauren Estelman that evening, who I admired for so long and grew to admire more and more and more. So it's good to see you here, Lauren. So, and there was this photographer that was just running around all over the place to take snapping pictures everywhere. He used his middle initial for some reason, I don't know what it was, but, which is how I met one of the finest folks I've ever had the honor to call a friend, Johnny D. Boggs. And over the next few years, W.C. Jameson, Mike Blakely, and I, we sang 1,000 songs after the shows. We drank 1,000 beers. We broke 1,000 hearts. Well, Mike broke 999 of them, and W.C. did the other one, but, you know, we're going to quibble about here, so, okay. And I was hopefully instrumental in bringing the concept of honoring Western songwriting to the fore. And one of the great honors that I've been given by this organization is on a par even with my Spur Awards, was the chance to produce an anthology of Western music for WWA. So many friends over the years, and I've got this list of 30 names here that I was going to say something about, and I would have left 30 off if I'd have done that. It's been an incredible ride, but so I still wear this old hat. I wear it all the time. It graced my nervous head as I played the Ryman Auditorium in Nashville, when I sang at William S. Hart's mansion in Santa Clarita, California, and when I was the opening act for Secretary of State Colin Powell at Opryland. It's seen 1,000 stages and several dozen trail rides, too many campfires to count and taverns to recall. It's been worn at far too many funerals as I've sung friends and family into the great beyond. It's thin and floppy and stained, and the sweatbands can replace it half a dozen times. It's all holes, and it is in some esoteric way holy. It sports a horsehair hitched band, a gift from wild western man Jeff Saylor. And it certainly never occurred to me when I stepped on that stage in Rapid City that I'd be wearing it all these years later in Tulsa, and I would feel the same sense of awe and acceptance of being part of this organization. So, as my wife might say about either me or the hat, it may have seen its better days, but by God, it still looks good. You know, I want to add my welcome to this year's Spur Awards banquet, and this is the culminating event, obviously, of an incredible week most of you have been a part of. And it's been something that I think that the connections that we make here will carry on the rest of our lives. So before we start announcing the winners, we have a few special honorees to recognize, and to present the first is my pal, Johnny D. Boggs, editor of Roundup magazine.
The Spur Award, given for for the best article in Roundup magazine is chosen by a vote by the members of Western Writers of America. This year, we recognize the work of Phil Mills Jr., who wrote the winning article, 70 for 70, 19th and 20th century writers worth remembering. Phil Mills.
Thank you. I can only say thank you to all of you who voted for this article to be the best of 2023. I'm humbled to have your vote, my peers, and fellow writers. This particular article came to fruition because I was doing some cataloging of some books that I have myself, and I got to noting that I had never heard of some of the authors that I had, and they went back for years and years, and some of them had written several books that I happen to have. I've never heard of these people. I'd heard of Zane Grey and et cetera, et cetera. So I got to studying, and I thought, who might have Zane Grey been reading? Who might have Louis L'Amour been reading? And some of the ones that we all know, who were they reading like we read them? And so one thing led to another, and we decided that I would take a look at some of those authors. These weren't members of the Hall of Fame. Some deserve to be there, maybe. Some don't, maybe. But they were prolific writers, and they had a great influence on the early literature of Western writers. Some of you, perhaps. And so I talked to Johnny, I talked to Candy, I talked to Chris Ness, and we decided that since we were coming up on 70 years as an organization, that we would select 70 of those authors to give some sort of recognition to. Well, when I got to doing the research, I found that there were more than 70. There were a lot of them that deserved some sort of recognition. So I cut it off at you had to have been born prior to 1900. And even then, there were 100 or more that didn't get selected. And so I made my choices, and I figured I was going to hear flack, well, why didn't you include this one or not that one? But I think the group that we came up with was pretty selective. And I'm honored to have had the opportunity to write about them. Space limitations, as you know, in any magazine, didn't allow me to get into any great depth on any one of them. But I appreciate the space that Johnny allowed me to get it done. Those writers that were in that article and the ones that didn't make it truly were the first Western writers of America, and the basis upon which all of us have built our reputations and our histories and our performances. And they don't get the recognition I think that they should, because they, prior to 1900, or even into the early years, deserve to have some sort of recognition. And I'm not saying they deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, some do, some don't, but they deserve to be recognized because they were living in a time when the West was actually the West. And I was truly honored to have the opportunity to write that article. So thank you very much.
Congratulations, Phil. One of the most challenging positions in WWA is that of the Spur Award Chair. From corralling more than 50 volunteer judges to verifying the validity of every poem, book, story, article, song, documentary, and movie script entry, there were 335 of them this year. To tallying results and notifying winners and finalists, this is not a job for the faint of heart, and it ain't a job for me at all. The Branding Iron Award is given to a WWA member who exhibits exceptional support to the organization and its goals, and it's my pleasure on behalf of WWA to present the 2024 Branding Iron Award to Spur Award Chairman R.G. Yobo.
Take care. as I do the count up here, if I correct, there's 11 Spurs up on this platform up here, and I don't have any of them. I can't thank you enough. This is a long way from when you walk in this crowd every day, you walk among greatness. And some of the greatest Western writers, singers, songwriters are right here in this crowd. And you let me walk among you, and you honor me by calling me by my first name. And I never, for a bow-legged West Virginia kid that Mom and Dad wouldn't even send him to the store because he couldn't talk to a clerk. And to be up here, it's just, I never saw any scenario this had ever happened. And I'd be looking out over a crowd with Craig Johnson sitting in it and all you great people. And honestly, I didn't feel like I'd been around here long enough to deserve an award like this. And maybe I don't. But to see my name alongside friends, good friends like Johnny and Bill Markley and Rocky Gibbons and other people here, and I'm sure I'll forget somebody, but just to see my name alongside somebody I value greatly and miss, like Cowboy Mike, I'm honored to be among this, and I just never seen a scenario where a little hick like me to ever be up talking to all you people, and that you trust me and call me by my first name. I'm honored. Thank you.
WWA recognizes its John M. Cleary Homestead honoree for providing significant support to Western writers of America. This year's recipient does that in several capacities and largely behind the scenes. He chairs the election committee, counting ballots by hand, and is a staff contributor to Roundup magazine, which includes his Western music review column. Vote for me, huh? He tirelessly mans the WWA booths at the annual New Mexico Farm and Ranch Heritage Museum's Cowboy Days, as well as the International Western Music Association Convention in Albuquerque. We proudly present the John M. Cleary Homestead Award to someone who's always ready to talk about Western writers of America and act. Our colleague and friend, Ollie Reed. Yep.
There you go.
Okay. Not going to get any better.
It's not long, but I figured I better write it down. I can mess it up for sure. Well, first off, I want to express my deep appreciation to the WWA board for according me this honor. Since Melody Groves informed me that I've been selected as the Homestead Honoree Award recipient, I've been trying to understand why. That's because I sincerely believe I can take this hat, throw it out among you, and it will land near somebody I figured was more deserving than this award than myself. That being the case, I feel somewhat awkward standing up here. But I can also honestly say that I have seldom felt more moved than I feel tonight. I have known about WWA since I started reading Western fiction and nonfiction as a child. Since that time, what I have most wanted to be is one of those WWA cowboy writers. Being accepted by WWA as a member was a major triumph, but being presented this award was something I never imagined possible. So all I can really think to say is thank you very much.
Wow.
honors a company, organization, or individuals who have distinguished themselves in continued support of Western literature and WWA. This year's honoree could be described as a sister organization, the sister who writes songs and poetry. My sister, the International Western Music Association. It's representative music, Western literature's singers, musicians, songwriters, poets, and DJs for 35 years. There's much overlap in our membership, and each organization is a supporting presence to the other's annual conventions. And I'd like to invite you all tonight down to this convention in Albuquerque this fall. Here is to accept this year's Lariat Award is IWMA Executive Director Marcia Short.
Thank you. I am a strong believer in associations and the work they do. That when people can come together with a common goal and form an association, their voice becomes louder and stronger. And when two associations can work together, they can be even stronger and they will be shouting from the rooftops. And on behalf of all the members of the International Western Music Association, we are honored and pleased to receive this recognition from the Western Writers of America. Thank you.
Well, the Spur Awards are presented each year for the best in Western writing of the prior calendar year. Tonight we recognize the work of men and women in 18 different categories. Before we present the 2024 Spur Awards, we'd like to ask the volunteer judges for this year's competition to please stand so we can acknowledge their dedication to the program. The judges here, would you please stand? Yeah. And now for the 2024 Spur Awards. A Wyoming family caught in the aftermath of a banking collapse fights for their land and heritage in Bad Choices, a Wyoming Chronicles story by W. Michael Gear, the winner of the Spur Award for Best Short Fiction. The story is from Riding with the Pack, a Western short story collection published by Wolfpack. Here to accept is the author, W. Michael Gear. Mike?
30 years, eh, John? You know, I have to tell you, writing's a better gig than this song stuff, because I want y'all to know that I was going to wear one of my old hats, and Kathy said, no. This is the Spur Awards. So, God bless Scott O'Farrell in Santa Fe. He got this sent to me the week before, so now I've got it. So you might try writing it. I would do that, except I don't admit that I know you love it. Kathleen, thank you. Thank you for your support over the years. You have been my rock and my idol. Now, most of you know that Kathy was up here collecting the Spur last year for her short story. We are not short story writers. But when she wrote No Quarter, and then, Mike Bray, where are you? There you are. He's the guy right there. He said, now, you know, Kathleen wrote a short story. You need to write a short story. And I've written one thing harder, but sitting there with God looking over my shoulder saying, Kathleen's short story won a Spur Award. Kathleen's short story was a finalist for Western Fictionaries. Kathleen's short story won a Will Rogers Medallion. What are you going to write? So, Bob, God bless you. When you called up and said you need to know that you had won the Spur Award, there was this moment of absolutely incredible relief. Because everyone knows that she's a better writer than I am, but periodically, she raises that bar so ever so high. And thank you, dear girl. To the WWA, to the other finalists, thank you very much. I deeply appreciate you. You guys are part of my heart and soul. Stay here.
Wonderful publisher. I have to give him one too. Not Paul.
At my first WWA convention, I walked in the day before, and the first thing I saw was Michael and Kathleen playing a didgeridoo in the back room. I'm like, these are my kind of people. The Spur Award for Best Short Nonfiction is presented to David C. Byers for those invaluable but greatly abused members of the community. Dogs and the Difference on the Great Plains and the Fur Trade Era, published in the spring 2023 issue of South Dakota History. A judge called the article provocative and entertaining. David's not able to be here. Deborah McDonald Berzer of the South Dakota Historical Society Press is here to accept. Deborah?
What an honor to accept this award on behalf of David B. Bryce. We call this article The Fur Trade Dogs because, as you heard, the real title is really, really long. And my fun phone call from Bob said, I don't know how we're going to fit that whole thing on the plaque. But they did, and you can look at it if you want and see how it did. So thank you so much for honoring South Dakota history with this wonderful award.
John Shirley will take home the Spur Award for Gunmetal Mountain, published by Pinnacle Kensington. This year's Best Original Mass Market Paperback Novel was commended by judges who called the language lovely and detailed and the plot cleverly woven. The authors won the International Horror Guild Awards and a Bram Stoker Award for his work in the horror fiction genre. But this is his first Western Writers of America Spur win, accepting as John Shirley.
Gunmetal Mountain is part of a trilogy, and my object in the trilogy was to somehow try to fuse the revisionist Western with the classic traditional Western, and you know, the realism and grit of the revisionist Western, and without losing the romance and the glory of the traditional Western. And maybe I accomplished it. Anyway, I'm honored to receive this, and I thank you very much, and I'll thank my editor at Kensington, Elizabeth May, and my wife, Michelina, and I thank the Western Writers of America for this honor. Thank you.
The Spur Award for historical nonfiction book is given to Continental Reckoning, The American West and the Age of Expansion, written by Elliott West and published by University of Nebraska Press. One Spur judge said, without candy coating the complex issues in conflict, Elliott West artfully provides a scholarly overview of the expansion and cultural formation of the American West. Elliott West is here to accept his award. Elliott.
Thank you all very much. I've been a member of the WHA. Honestly, cannot remember the first meeting I attended. I haven't attended nearly as many as I want to, but I'm here. I always realize this is not trial. These are not people. This book was a product of about 50 years of research and writing and thinking about it all. And in that period, I've had two great goals. One of them is to convince as many people as I can that you cannot possibly understand the history of the United States, including up until 2024, unless you bring the history of the American West into it. That was the purpose of this book. The second is to try to make Western history as accessible as possible to the American public, to the reading public, here and across the world. And no group is more active and successful in doing that than the Western Writers of America. I'm very proud to be a member of it, very proud to receive this special recognition from it. Thank you very much.
All right. I got this cool new watch and I just got a notification from Sam's Club. It's a good deal. It's been a few years since the author of 2024 Best Contemporary Novel took home the Spur Award, but Craig Johnson's The Longmire Defense proves that he has not lost a thing. One judge called it one of Johnson's best novels in the Longmire series and a tribute to a master's art. Viking Press's publisher, Craig Johnson, is here to accept the award.
Thank you. My goodness. Wow. 16 years ago, that's when this one was. So I am really glad to get this second Spur because my horse is really tired of going this No, it's just wonderful to be up here and look out and see so many people I've known for so many years. It's just wonderful to be here. And I have to be honest with you and tell you that how I got notified of this was kind of an odd circuit. What happened was is I get to the Tucson Festival of Books and I always wander over to see what's going on at the Western booth. I got over there and Mr. Boggs and the bunch were there as usual. And I walked off, we're talking, having a nice conversation, all this, and we get ready to leave. And they're all kind of smiling, kind of funny looking like that. And I'm thinking, they're up to something, aren't they? Like that. And as I'm getting ready to walk away, John looks at me and goes, "Congratulations." Like that. I was like, "Thank you." Okay. The plane, we go home. We're back in Wyoming. We're sitting there at the ranch. And there was a reporter, I think, from the, I think it was Cowboy Daily News. And he called up and he said, "Mr. Johnson, I just want to talk to you about the Spur Award." And I was sitting there thinking, why do they want to talk to me about an award that I won 16 years ago, for goodness sake? And so I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, so can I put you on hold for a second? He goes, "Yeah, sure." And I look over, and Judy had already jumped on the internet. She said, "You won." That's That's how I found out about these kind of things. So I'm a little slow, I have to admit. But it's wonderful. There's always a certain measure of sadness whenever you're in this position, because you always look out in the audience and see a lot of other people that are extraordinary writers, and very deserving of this. I do want to thank the judges. I question your sanity, but I do want to thank the judges and just say that I was thinking about how do you accept something like this, and I think probably the best it was ever done, it was probably by a native Oklahoman, an individual who won a national Professional Radio Cowboy Association bunco and an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor, Uncle Ben Johnson. And I don't know if you guys remember or not, but I think what it was is he got up there, he said, well, I just want to be honest with you. He says, what I'm going to say next is going to cause a lot of controversy and a lot of talk here in the next couple of days, but this just couldn't happen to a finer fellow. Thank you. Thank you. Get out of your way.
The Spur Award for Best Contemporary Nonfiction Book is given to The Lost Cowboy, written by J.B. Zelke. The independently published book inspired one judge to say, J.B.'s zeal for life bleeds through his writing. His adventure became my adventures. Here to accept the Spur is author J.B. Zelke. Come on up, J.B.
Well, this is pretty surprising to me because this book, the idea about this book came when I was laying on the floor in Mexico, trying not to catch a stray bullet from the cartel. Just hoping that they didn't know that I was in that building, and I thought, I don't want to take these stories to the grave with me, so maybe I ought to write them down. So the whole book got written in a cabin barn. I was checking cows every hour on the hour. It's freezing cold, 3 feet of snow sometimes, and I come back inside and sit and write for a while, and then come back out and check cows again. And usually my hands were frozen solid when I came back, and I figured the best way to warm them up was on a keyboard. They were usually covered in blood or mud or manure, even afterwards sometimes, so it's all over this book. But I really appreciate all the judges and everybody that worked on this, so thank you.
Well, this year, we award the Spur for Best Western Song to New Mexico's Sid Masters for his tune High Country Trail, featured on the album Cabin Songs, published by Deer Pine. One judge described it as a seasoned songwriter's tribute to the hardworking cowboy, and another applauded the line, washing down the sunsets with lovin' and moonshine. You know Sid, you know what that means. Sid sends regrets that he had to cancel his trip to Tulsa, but his good friend Jim Jones is here to accept the award for him. Jim?
So I've known Sid Masters for almost 30 years, and we were laughing about it when he found out he won, because this particular song, he had written it a few years ago. Didn't record it, obviously, until last year, but, and he played it for me. He said, what do you think? And I said, that's a fine song. You ought to do it. So I feel like this is like my award, too. I said this yesterday because Sid also won a Spur finalist. I'm so sorry. He is very sorry he couldn't be here. He plays Chuck Wagon dinner at Bobcat Pass at Red River, and this is their opening weekend. He is the star attraction, and so he couldn't not be there. but he's really sorry he couldn't be here. And I'm going to make him feel really bad that he missed it. But I just want to say, Sid is a great songwriter. He's also one of the best entertainers I have ever met. And I'm sorry that you don't get to experience Sid in the music or in the roundup room. And he's a great performer, crazy as a bedbug, but Marcia's nodding because she knows. But he says thank you from the bottom of his heart.
Do your Sid Masters impression.
Yeah.
You have a Sid Masters impression?
Sid Masters impression?
Yeah, you're getting your picture. Do a Sid Masters impression. Look like Sid. Come on, Jim. Look like Sid. Look like Sid.
Buy this man a drink.
Security?
Security.
Sorry, Randy.
Security.
Well, our 2024 Spur winner for Best Western Poem is Counting Cattle with the Fathers by Shelley Armitage, published by Finishing Line Press in A Habit of Landscape. A comment from one of the judges said this is a powerful and personal description of the passing of a generational torch in ranching with a twist that's being passed to a woman. Although I don't know Shelley Armitage, I doubt that there are any men out there who are any more cowboy than she is. Shelley wasn't able to accept this award in person, but we'll make sure that she gets it right away. Congratulations to Shelley. In the category of Best Western Romance, there was a tie. That's right. It's two people. Both winners were unable to accept in person. We will first honor George T. Arnold's The Heart Beneath the Badge, published by Speaking Volumes, in which a tortured sheriff goes to church and sits down by a wealthy, recently widowed woman, which has happened to me many times. Also winning a Spur for Best Western Romance is Love on Target, featuring a feisty young woman with a pistol and a mule, written by Shannon Hatfield for Wholesome Hearts Publishing. And I believe that we should make sure that they get those spurs. Congratulations to both of you. With a story and illustrations by S.D. Nelson, this year's Spur for Best Children's Picture Book goes to Grandma's Teepee, a present-day Lakota story published by Abrams Books for Young Readers. One judge said, once again, S.D. Nelson expertly combines his beautiful artwork with approachable and engaging language that unfolds into a stunning story of indigenous cultural heritage and lovely family bonds. Here to accept for S.D. Nelson is Bill Markley.
Well, when SD asked me to accept this for him, I came to a new conclusion. Never accept that you'll say, I'll accept an award until you see the speech that you have to give. And so he sent me the speech, and at the end he said, but if you want to edit anything, go ahead. So this is what it looked like. And I edited it for you. So SD said, I am writing to you from Arizona with heartfelt regret that I cannot be with you tonight in Oklahoma. This Spur Award is an honor that I will treasure all of my days and starry nights, S.D. Nelson.
All right. Love shines through in this well-depicted story of a Jewish immigrant family and their survival in an isolated area of North Dakota. So said one judge of the Spur-winning juvenile fiction book, A Sky Full of Song, written by Susan Lynn Miller and published by Union Square Kids. Susan is unable to be here tonight, but sent these words of gratitude. I did something wrong. Okay. Okay. All right. I am so pleased and honored to have been awarded the Western Writers of America Spur Award in the juvenile novel category for A Sky Full of Song. I very much hoped to attend in person, but unfortunately I am instead home recovering from shoulder surgery. If all goes as we hope, I will have participated by phone on the middle grade panel by the time you hear this. I am grateful to all the prize judges and to all who worked so hard to organize this convention, the panels, and the awards ceremony. A Sky Full of Song, told from the point of view of 11-year-old Shoshana, is about a large family of Jewish homesteaders who flee the Russian Empire and take up homesteading in a dugout in North Dakota. I will just say that it was inspired by an old family photograph showing my grandfather in a baby buggy in front of a dugout, by my awestruck response to the sky over the Great Plains, by my love of the fiction of Willa Cather, and by so much reading about the history of Jewish homesteaders in the Dakotas. Thank you, and I don't have the name down again.
Susan Lynn Meyer.
Susan Lynn Meyer, my apologies. Susan Lynn, we're sending this to you. Congratulations. Okay, already named in the 2024 Next Generation Indie Book Award winner, we're pleased to present the WWA Spur Award for Juvenile Nonfiction Book to Bass Reeves, Legendary Lawman of the West, by Billy Holiday Skelly. The publisher is Crossing Time Press. Billy wasn't able to attend this evening. No, you're not. Please welcome Billy.
Thank you so much. This is really a great honor, and I'm very appreciative. I'd like to thank the Western Writers of America, all the Spur judges, and my illustrator James Skelly, and especially Bob, for being so persistent in calling me for 3 days when I wouldn't answer my phone, and for being so tolerant when we did connect with my emotional response, and for being so patient with my 30 or 40 subsequent emails to confirm he was who he said he was, and then for answering my myriad of questions. And I'm very grateful. I'm honored, humbled, and just very thankful. Thank you very much.
Billy, I'm so glad you actually do exist. Congratulations once again. The 2024 Best Western Biography Spur goes to Sacagawea, Mystery, Myth, and Legend, published by South Dakota Historical Society Press and written by Candy Moulton. A judge commended her for great storytelling of Sacagawea's role in the Lewis and Clark expedition, accepting her 4th Career Spur Award. I have 3. His author, historian, and great friend of mine, Candy Moulton.
I was never more surprised when I got the call from my editor, Deirdre, that we had won the Spur Award for Sacagawea. This is a book that honestly I didn't want to write. I was afraid to try to even write it. How do you write a book about a woman and you don't know where she was born? You don't know when she was born. You have no idea where she died or when she died. You have no idea how to say or spell her name. I mean, Deirdre and I say it differently. And it is really an honor to receive this book. And it was given to me by the prior editor at South Dakota Historical Society Press, Nancy Kupal, and Chuck Rankin, who took 3 years of arm twisting before I finally agreed that I would even do it, because I just felt like it was too hard to try to write a biography of someone that's so in the shadows. And she's known for her work with Lewis and Clark. She was a culture broker. She really bridged a gap, a language gap. She was a woman of integrity, high integrity. Anyone who could do what she did. So I'm very honored to receive this Spur Award. I thank the judges. I thank Western Writers of America. I thank my editing team. They were fantastic to work with. And most of all, I thank Steve for letting me do everything that I do.
Great boots.
Thank you.
Aesop's Travels, A Crackerjack Tale of the Old West by Daniel Boyd, receives the 2024 Spur Award for Best Traditional Novel. A book reviewer for Roundup magazine said the novel will keep readers turning pages, shaking heads, and thoroughly enjoying a wild ride. Montague Press is the publisher. Here to accept the Spur is author Daniel Boyd. Come on, Daniel.
Wow.
Whoa. Okay, first off, I just want to let everybody know the guy at the store swore to me this was a cowboy hat. Gentlemen, I really want to thank the Western Writers of America, the people who voted this award, which I find a great honor and gave me the distinct and I think a very unusual pleasure earlier this week of speaking with an editor who a few years ago rejected this book and now is carrying on a civil conversation with me. And I have to say that I declined to mention that that this book had been rejected by the editor, but just feeling it inside, it's such a great pleasure. It's hard to describe how enjoyable that was. I want to read to you, this will be quick, I just want to read to you my favorite passage from this book. It comes early in the book, it's the dedication. It says, "For Kay, bright star in the evening sky." This refers to the woman who, 2 years ago this month, stood beside a frightened, foolish old man and said, "I do." So, thank you for the honor.
Winner of the Spur Award for Best Historical Novel is Death in the Tallgrass, A Young Man's Journey Through the Western Frontier by Donald Willerton. The independently published book is described by Midwest Book Reviews as an inherently engaging and deftly crafted novel from start to finish, and we're delighted to have Donald Willerton here to accept his award.
Thank you very much. It means more.
Be all right.
Good on you, Express. Thank you.
Wow.
Winner of the Spur Award for the Best Documentary Script is screenwriter Dayton Duncan for The American Buffalo, produced by Ken Burns for PBS. Dayton is a longtime WWA member and previously won Spur Awards for The Dust Bowl and Lewis and Clark, The Journey of the Court of Discovery. Accepting for Dayton is Johnny V. Boggs.
Oh.
I'm trying to figure out what I did for Dayton's successful speech. I blew it again. Well, Dayton, since his sincere acceptance of this and wishes he could be here, he is a superb writer, superb documentary. It's his fourth Spur Award, and he really wishes he could be here. So congratulations to Dayton, and thank you.
Check your hat, Johnny. J.B. Zelke was just at the podium to receive one of his 2 Spur Awards for the night for his nonfiction book, The Lost Cowboy. It's also been named Best First Nonfiction Book this year. Come on up, J.B.
I forgot to mention somebody very important the first time. She's not here, Sarah Dobbins. She, when I first started on this deal, Sarah was an undergrad student at Stanford studying biomedical engineering. She helped me push through all of this and helped a lot with the editing, all the tech wizardry and things that go into submitting books online and getting it all formatted correctly. So she was a huge part of this as well. So thank you all again.
These guys be a little. Table number 1. Well, so Santa Claus walks into a bank. No one expecting to pull a gun and rob the place. When a writer discovers a true story nugget like that, a book can't be far behind. Thomas Goodman wins the Spur for Best First Novel this year for The Last Man, a novel of the 1927 Santa Claus bank robbery. Here to accept is Thomas Goodman. Come on up, Thomas.
I so appreciate the opportunity to receive this award. This novel is based on a true story of a bank robbing Santa Claus in 1927, Cisco, Texas. More than that, though, it's about fathers. It's about absent fathers. It's about surrogate fathers. And it's about a God who wants us to regard him as our Father which art in heaven. I want to thank my wife. When I couldn't find a publisher to take on this story, she still believed in it. And together we set aside some family budget dollars to be able to start our own publishing interest so we could get this novel out to readers ourselves. I want to thank James Wade, a 2-time Spur Award winner. He didn't know me from Adam. When I asked him, I wrote him out of the blue and asked him would he be interested in reading this novel, and if he liked it, would he write a blurb for it. He did, and he did. And his endorsement opened all kinds of doors for me. And authors helping authors, that's a great thing. And finally, I want to thank the judges who I think found this story, the true story, as compelling as I did. And the members of this Western Writers of America, this Spur Award means the world to me. And I appreciate you letting me join the club.
Well, each year, one deceased writer is inducted into the Western Writers Hall of Fame. Nominees for the induction are selected by the Homestead Foundation's board, and the honoree is chosen by vote of WWA's active level members. Now, known for his smooth, emotive, and amazing voice, Barney Robbins was a pop crooner, country balladeer, and cowboy storyteller, and slipped easily between musical genres during his 30-year career. He was influenced by Gene Autry. Robbins considered Western music his favorite. Gunfighter Ballads and Trail Songs, his iconic 1959 album that included the mega hit story song El Paso, was recorded in a single 8-hour session. AllMusic calls it the single most influential album of Western songs in post-World War II American music. We're proud to recognize Marty Robbins as the 2024 Western Writers Hall of Fame inductee. Big hand for Marty Robbins. Well, Max McCoy, why don't you make your way back up here? Max is going to present the next award. He's been over there chowing down.
Named for the author of The Virginian, who is considered the father of the Western story, the Owen Wister Award is presented to a living author for lifetime achievement in Western history and literature. The recipient is automatically inducted into the Western Writers Hall of Fame, which is housed at the McCracken Research Library at the Buffalo Bill Center of the West in Cody, Wyoming. This year's honoree, Dr. Quintard Taylor, has spent the last half-century collecting and writing about the long-ignored history of blacks in the West. His own story reads like a historical timeline of the journey of blacks in America. His great-grandfather was enslaved. His father managed a cotton plantation. With parents who instilled an appreciation of history and insisted that he pursue higher education, Taylor utilized a hodgepodge of financial assistance and academic excellence scholarships to obtain his doctorate. Taylor's body of work includes the groundbreaking In Search of the Racial Frontier, African Americans in the American West, African American Women Confront the West, and his latest project, Urban Archipelago, African American Communities in the 20th Century American West. He established a website called blackpast.org with over 10,000 pages of information compiled by more than 1,000 academics and independent historians on not only Black American history, but African ancestry from the beginning of time. WWA proudly honors his significant contributions to Western literature. Please welcome 2024 Owen Wister Award recipient, Dr. Quintard Taylor.
Introduction. I don't know who you were talking about, but I'm standing here. I promise you all there will be no speech from me. But I do want to first thank the Western Writers Association for honoring me. I was surprised. Max knows how surprised I was because we had a lot of conversations about this. I'm in company that I probably don't deserve to be included in, but I'm here, and I want to thank you. I also want to say something about, I said I wasn't going to give a speech, I'm sorry. Just a couple of words here. I'm a Tennessee guy. I was born in Brownsville, Tennessee in 1948. And over time, over these 75 years, I have become a Westerner. And when I say that, I've been in small towns and big cities throughout the West. And all of this has persuaded me that I love this region. I am going to die a Westerner. And so that's why this award, this honor is so very important to me. Thank you for welcoming me into the club. I don't have a cowboy hat, I know, but thank you anyway, because ultimately that's what the West is about. It's about not just, the idea of who Westerners are. It's about the idea that we all can be and are Westerners. Everybody in this room. Everybody in this room. And certainly when I stand in front of you, I hope I remind you that all Westerners come in all colors, all shades, all types, and they ultimately come from all over the world, and they identify with this region. So thank you very much.
Don't forget the books on your tables. If you want to take one home with you, leave a little cash. This concludes our 2024 Spur Awards presentation and our convention. We hope you've enjoyed this year's panelists and speakers and are returning home with new contacts, writing tools, and a sense of refreshed creativity. Please plan to join us for next year's convention in downtown Amarillo, Embassy Suites, June 18th to the 21st, 2025. Good night. Thank you all for coming, and see you down the road.